My wife and I we went on our staycation recently. We do this once a year. What happened was one year we wanted to go on a vacation, and our pet sitters only had like 4 days. And my wife did a lot of research, and she realized it's better to just maybe stay somewhere in town. We live in Charleston, South Carolina, which is beautiful. So we go from our part to another part, and it's exciting, right? So we went over to the beach club, which is a big resort with a big pool right on a dock. So sometimes people will rent those out, and then they'll come in and they'll use the pool. It's a little hoity-toity, but not really. People bring their kids. People come from all over. There was this funny couple that was maybe 19 years old, and they both look extremely Italian, and they were arguing the whole time. I thought it was hilarious. And the kid, dude, this kid looked like he was going to be a mobster later on. His hair was like just like, I don't know. It was probably moussed, because I used mousse at one time in my life, and so I think you can only get that from mousse. This is gel. Actually, I think it's a molding wax. But anyway, his hair was going back, and he's sweating the whole time. And when he'd go into the water, he'd come up and he'd go, you know. I wanted to cast this guy. I'm not a director, but I wanted to cast this guy in anything, a movie. We'd write a movie for this guy. Anyways, his girlfriend, I think, was arguing with him, and he's like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to talk about it. I can't even go out with you tonight. It was like one of those moments where I was like, I really want to know what's going on. I just want to be like, hey guys, you all right? You need a little temporary therapist or something? I really wanted to ask them a bunch of questions. But anyway, so we're hanging out at the pool a lot, and the whole routine is that you get in the sun, then you get hot and you get in the pool, and then you get too cold. But it was really hot. Probably the hottest week of the year that we happened to choose. We're talking 111, 115 real feel, so maybe 95, and then the humidity another 20 degrees. It was hot, and I was very worried about my skin. I can be very, very high maintenance, unfortunately. Wish I was more manly, but I'm not. So I've developed some manly things, I guess, over time, and my voice is pretty low, so that's good. But I'm out there like, I might get sunburn. You can only get so many sunburns, and then you get skin cancer, And I mean, I'm like half German, half Irish, which means like I would start a war, but I'm too drunk, something like that. But anyway, both fair-skinned groups of people, and so I was using as much sunscreen as I could, just obsessively. Like my wife Linda, she's like, you're just obsessively you're just rubbing your. Why are you middle-aged man? Yeah, doesn't need to do that in public. Oh, I have this cool long sleeve shirt that's UV, anti-UV, and I had no idea. I saw some older guy, who's older than me, so I'd be like, oh, that's an old guy. I'm not an old guy. That's an old guy. And he's wearing the shirt in the pool, and it's wet, and I was like, yeah, it looks kind of dorky. But like the last day we're there, I did that because I had a little bit of a sunburn from the previous day. Yes, I did, Linda. Yes, I did. I was like, my back feels like it's burning. She's like, it's not that red. It's not that red. Next morning, I'm like, yeah. Okay, so whoever you are in the marriage, you're always right. So she's always right. I'm always right. Whatever. Anyway, I was wearing that shirt. It was the bomb. That was the solution, because it's like a little air conditioner. You come out of the pool, and it's cool, and it's keeping you cool, and then you go back under, blah, 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 and then you go like, ugh. Anyway. So we were doing that, and we talked about a lot of stuff, and I've been like working on this, whatever this podcast is, and this new content that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to bring everything together, because I'm an ADHD guy. I'm always into one thing or another. I'll deep dive on AI for 9 months and learn to program Python and stuff, and then now I'm in the stock market, and it's like, ostensibly I'm a marketer. I used to be a marketer. But I did that for like 25 years, and like I can do it, but it's not fascinating to me anymore. So I'm always learning these new things, and then I try to tie them in, So I do the thing that works for me is I'm a keynote speaker, and I get to combine all those different knowings, knowledges. I'm a great speaker. I can use the words. Yeah. So I get to take all those different experiences and stories from those and ideas, and I can put them together on anything. So like, let's say I'm doing a keynote for a group that puts on conferences. I can use AI to help write the speech. We actually used AI to create songs for them and created live songs that they found fascinating. And then I used I've been personal growth since I was like 20 years old. So like they wanted to do a little bit of celebration and we did a little bit of personal growth type stuff. It all kind of fits in. And sometimes I think people will look at my website and they'll be like, how can you have 12 topics? Aren't you an expert? Well, I'm an expert at becoming an expert in anything. That's kind of what I am. So anyway, the personal growth thing, I got hired by some Wyoming school administrators, basically superintendents. They wanted me to do a self-care workshop. I'm like, I'm going to cowboy country to do self-care? Maybe they need it more. Maybe the people in San Francisco already know how to do this stuff. I don't know. So we did it. It was great. I was probably at a table of 4 guys that was really not that into it, but there's always those guys. They're the manly ones. Anyway, I don't have feelings. I can't even feel my legs. Yeah, that's all the drinking, and you have diabetes. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that. So my wife and I were talking, brainstorming about this content thing I'm trying to do. I really just want to. I've written so much stuff. I've written thousands of articles. Haven't been writing that much in the last few years. I've written like 7 or 8 books, and I did a lot of those like all at once, right? So I can put out a lot of content, but it just needs to be something that people find useful. So I've been just like trying to figure out what those topics are. The cool thing about Substack and podcasting is I can just put out a bunch of different topics and see what you like, right? See what resonates. So I'm doing stuff that's based on my keynotes. I'm doing some stock market writing. I love doing research, deep dives. Use like ChatGPT and Perplexity to do some of that stuff, and that speeds it up, of course. And then exploring different topics. It's just a lot of content, a lot of thought, and I got to pull it together, which of course AI can summarize. But what I'm finding is that if you're not careful, AI takes your voice away. Right, if you aren't doing you're not the one writing it. And that's why I'm. The design is to start with podcasts like this, and then those can become the seeds of articles, and which could become other podcasts because I'm going deeper on something. This is really just me spitballing and talking with no plan. So yeah, there's that. A lot of different things that I want to write about and investigate. I'm a curious person. Always, my mom was like, you would just not stop asking questions when you're a kid. I mean, you're like, who's that? That's Pete. What's he doing? He's going to work. Why is he going to work? Because people have to work to make money. Where does he work? Blah, 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 blah. And and then I was the guy that's reading encyclopedias, right? Like, we had this old 1920s house in Dayton, Ohio, hardwood floors and these big metal registers that the heat would come up out of from the furnace downstairs, and I would sit on the register with a quilt around me, very manly, yes, and I would read encyclopedias, also very manly. I'm a guy that would read dictionaries because I'd be like, I read one word and it would define it in terms of 7 other words, so I'd have to look up those 7 words and live what they are, and all knowledge is relative. So I'm the guy that's always looking up the etymology of the word, like the root, the origins. Oh, that's from Middle French and Latin, of course. But yeah, so just always wondering about shit. I'm just wondering about shit. So, that's what I do. I ask questions and then I write, and I do stand-up comedy sometimes. Which is unfortunate because it makes me think I'm funny, and then I go try to be funny in everyday situations, which I think people find annoying. Yeah. Occasionally, though, it helps. It's nice at a dinner party or something, because I'll just come out with something funny. And that's good. And it makes me feel good about myself that I'm contributing and having a good effect on people. Yeah. So, anything else you want to talk about? Maybe with the the last year when we did the staycation, I was a little drunk, and these pelicans flew over, and I said to my wife, "I love pelicans. I want to learn more about pelicans." And so I did. I learned a little bit. Surprisingly, that was not really an interesting subject to me, so I don't know. But they are really cool when you watch. They're really cool to watch fly. Yeah, I got a little brother in Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I don't think I'm supposed to say his name or anything. I'll keep that anonymous. But we went kayaking, and he's like 11, and he was super scared of the pelicans. He was like, ah! He was like, "You're ugly. Stay away. You're ugly." He's a funny guy. Yeah. Let's see. What did I not do that made the staycation better? Well, I didn't take my computer out to the pool, partly because it probably would catch on fire in the sun. It was very hot. But I did have my phone. But it was so bright out there, I could barely even see the stuff on my phone. It gets me away from the computer. I'm in front of the computer right now, and I've been in front of the computer all day. So that's me. It's funny because when I was growing up, like many people, I never wanted to go to school. I wanted to stay home. And I had a really good time by myself at home. I'm just an introvert. Maybe I used to call it Slatesburgers, and ADHD. So I would just read books or listen to music in my room, and I was having the best time, right? So I just thought it was funny the other day. No, it was today. I was walking around and I was like, "Oh, I'm at home." Yeah, I actually got a career where I'm mostly at home. I'll travel for keynotes and stuff like that. And I'll go do the keynote, and I'm with people for maybe 2 to 4 hours or whatever, but then I go lay down. I'm like, I'm alone. I'm in a cave. I need to recharge. But sometimes we do more. Like they'll have a mixer, or the last ones I did, we went to a Colorado Rockies baseball game, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I always wanted to stay home my whole life. I'm an indoor guy. I've done things like rock climbing and hiking, all that kind of stuff, but that's also often alone. Yeah, it's like I love people, but not very often. It's interesting that now you're just staying home. This is who you are. You grew up and you learned to stay home. Now you're staying home, and you still get paid. You figured out a way to stay home. Good job. What I do that most people would think is boring, that I actually really like, is spreadsheets. So I think I did a post where I talked about how when I was first doing comedy, I had spreadsheets of all my jokes, and I would analyze them. I try to quantify different things about it, like a scale 1 to 10, how many laughs did it get, and how many people did it get at this gig and that gig and that gig, and then we'll average them together, and then we'll compare it to the funniness of the other jokes. So, analytical guy. What's crazy with the stocks thing, I've learned more about Google Sheets than I ever knew. There's so much I didn't know how to do, and I just constantly ask Perplexity or Claude or ChatGPT how to do something in Google Sheets. Yeah, I'm just a nerdy guy. Some people find that really boring. Maybe it's my ADHD brain, but I need to see it all together and be able to compare it, right? The confirmation bias thing. Like, we're very subjective people. We have limited viewpoints. We get influenced bigly by small things, and we lose perspective. And so I'm always trying to find a more objective, quantified perspective on things, because it helps me ensure I'm making better decisions. Like if you're looking at some different stocks to invest in, and I'll look at probably 100 at a time if I'm thinking about changing the portfolio or adding to it. Sometimes I don't want to know anything about the company, because it's going to make me want to buy the company, even though certain metrics are wrong, right? There are warning signs here in the metrics, but because it's a cool company, we can get really focused on one thing and miss the other thing, right? Oh, it's great profits lately, right? Okay, but it's incredibly unstable, and it doesn't do well when the S&P 500 is down. So that's why I do nerdy things like spreadsheets. What part of your routine do you pretend to hate but you actually like the control of? These are dumb questions. I'm trying to get GPT to give me better questions to stimulate these things. Like the first ones that it gave me were like, what would the Brian of 10 years ago need to read today? What the fuck is that question? That is this. It doesn't. I told it like the questions were too interesting, and I wanted my answers to be interesting, not the questions, right? Because I look at these and like I don't know, like what's something everyone in business is pretending to know, but you know they don't, and you've got a better metaphor for it. I fucking don't know. Are you kidding me? I don't know what people are pretending to know. I don't. Those are the dumbest questions. So I was like, hey, give me some questions that are more boring. What's something you didn't expect to like about your staycation? I didn't think I would like wearing that wet shirt in the pool, but I loved it. There you go. What's a chore that leads to your weirdest or most random thoughts? Growing up, I had some jobs painting in my 20s, and I would just have so many thoughts. Walking, I have a lot of thoughts. Doing anything, I have a lot of thoughts. That's probably the true thing. There is no one thing that leads to my weirdest or most random thoughts. They come all the time. These are so dumb. What's a small overreaction you had that made you laugh at yourself later? I don't know. I think the problem is I don't have any memory. Like, I'm always taking so much information, and that's one of the reasons why I like spreadsheets and organizing tools like that, because I don't have to remember everything. I can't remember, 100 different metrics for each stock and study. That's 10,000 metrics for 100 stocks, right? So, I'm not good at answering questions because I don't remember. I'm actually very smart, but I can't prove it. I feel like Linda's walking around outside the door and I have to be quieter. I don't know why. She can't hear me while I'm podcasting, guys. It's not cool. I don't want her to know. I don't want her to overhear it. Okay? So I gotta go. I'm safe. Don't worry about me. She doesn't abuse me. Wait, I do have a little bruise right. Oh, it's gone. Good. No one will know. No, it's actually me falling off a ladder. Anyway, that's enough for today. I have no idea what we talked about, and I hope you enjoyed it. I think I did. I think I enjoyed it. A little bit.